Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Kevin from ARC and Codementor. Thank you for taking the time to join us today for our remote work is here to stay and what's next. This talk is brought to you by ARC. We connect great developers with companies around the world. If you'd love to learn more about us, I'll be sharing a link in the chat. And today we'll be hearing from Radovan Bacovic. And to make sure that you take full advantage of this talk, feel free to drop all your questions for our speaker in the Q&A section. We will answer them by the end of the talk. And don't worry about making notes immediately. We will be recording this session. We'll be sharing this session with you later on. And yeah, let's welcome now our special guest today. Here with us is Radovan Bacovic, a senior data engineer at GitLab. Coming from Serbia. Today he is in another country in Europe, in Austria, and he is an experienced data engineer and a data geek. And he's delighted to discover new technologies with a focus in the open source community. And he's been trapped in the data world for 20 years now already. So without further ado, Radovan, the stage is yours.
Yeah, that's great. Probably I should share my screen to start and see the first slide of my presentation without any serious intention to kill you by PowerPoint. So let's see our slideshow, how it's going. So for sure you can see my screen, right? And
Yes.
let's start from the beginning. Somehow I started with the wrong slide. Let's start from here. Now we're fully ready. Hello, everyone. I'm Radovan Bacovic, as Kevin said, and had a nice introduction. I think there is no better way to advocate for remote or asynchronous way of work than do it remotely. And of course, I'm so happy to see you from very, very high diversity and large number of countries, which is one of our values. I will talk about that later. So these days, I would say everyone is talking not about only GPT, but about remote work and why it's so popular, especially in post-COVID era. My main intention is to somehow advocate and see the advantages and disadvantages of remote work, and also will drive you about next level. It's called asynchronous way of work. What is that? Why you should go for that? What is pros and cons? I will show you in next half an hour session. How everything started. Maybe you heard, maybe not. I'm coming from a company called GitLab. Also, we have a product called GitLab, and it's very important to distinguish those two things. And also there is few facts make our company very, very unique. And what makes GitLab unique? First of all, we are all remote company from the early beginning when we established 11 years ago. This all remote is crucial term here. We'll drill it down later and explain in details, but good to know. So no offices and no problems for us, definitely. Officially, we are the biggest all remote company in the world. I put probably here just to be on the safe side, but officially, we are the biggest one in the world. So I would say we have enough reasons to advocate or explain our use case, how we drive our business fully remotely in async mode. And of course, we strongly advocate for this way of work about all remote and asynchronous. As I said, later on, we will touch all of these topics and will make bread and butter for you. We're a global leader in distributed work. Not many companies are starting to support this way of work from early beginning, as we are, and that we just strive and improve the remote way of work from early beginning. Actually, you should ask what we are doing. Maybe you heard, maybe not, but if this session went last year, I would say we create DevOps product, but actually we enhance our functionality and we create a DevSecOps platform, which is delivered as a single application, support you through the entire software development life cycle. We have 10 stages from planning to deploy, deliver, monitoring, etc. On this slide, you will see operational model of our product. It supports development, security and compliance in this case, and operations. Of course, monitor, release, deploys, and everything goes together hand by hand with ops part of our product. We have 10 stages, as I said, from plan, create, verify, package, up to secure, release, and configure, to monitor, govern, and manage. Everything in details is exposed on this slide. Also, you can find more details on our website. Sometimes if you're tired, lazy like me, it's very humble explanation of what we are doing with a couple of 10 icons here. So plan, create, verify, govern, manage, and all other stages. Without any strong intention to kill you by many slides here, I just want to highlight a couple of numbers. Can give you the full picture of our company, what we are doing and why we are doing like that. First of all, no offices, no problem. As I said, from early beginning, there is all remote strategy and approach. And we hire people all around the globe without really, literally, no offices. 600 plus, this is number of our team members doing on our great product. And we hired across the globe in 65 countries and more, I would say, and regions. With few exceptions, actually, we can hire people in literally any region in the world. Probably we have more people now, but this is official number, we'll stick with that. With this number, we're so proud because we have 30 plus millions registered users using our product, both on-prem and SaaS option. You can host our product on your resources if you want, or you can use SaaS option. And also from small hot startups over middle-size and large-size company to serious and well-known enterprises in the world, including academia and government organizations, are using our product. So this is 100% evidence how we can drive our business and scale our business fully remote, and we can handle and support and treat 30 plus million users in a really good way. Each 22nd of each month for more than a decade, we release new, nice version of our product with new features. Without delays, exceptions, or exclusions, you know what to expect and when to expect it. So 22nd of the month, each month, new release, without exception. Single source of truth for us, for our business and our daily job is our GitLab handbook as a single source of truth. It contains officially 2,000 pages of web text, but in reality it's probably several times more. Whatever we are doing, we document it here. What is good for you and why this is important? This is open source. You can Google it, you can find it. Just type GitLab handbook. You will see how we drive our business in details. Not only for the data team, I belong to that team, but also how we hire people, how we do operational stuff, how we calculate our metrics, what is important, and many other things. If you're interested to steal this knowledge, feel free to use it. You can easily fork our handbook, adjust it for your needs, and use it. So by default, our company is open core and open source. So yeah, feel free to use it. Why this is super important in details, we'll talk about that later. How we operate our business fully remotely, how we support these numbers, let me show you. Let's do it remotely. And of course, this also comes in different shapes. From nice, fancy, attractive beaches up to dirty, dark room, up to you to define your model of work, what you like the most. Why this is important, or why I should advocate for remote work? Because in coming year and beyond, there are several facts we should consider or reconsider again. Talented people are everywhere. It's not only location-based, and of course, pool of talents can be hired from anywhere in the world. That has dramatically changed. Urban culture, cities, and demographic situation is also dramatically changed about healthy lifestyle and find people better place to live. So you're not limited to region or city where you want to work. Business should be more agile in future crises. We don't know which one will happen, but it will happen for sure. So let's allow our business to be more ready than it was before. And remote work can support that a lot. Of course, leaders should strive to hire people with more diverse team. We are a good example on this call because we are literally sitting everywhere and do the same thing and listen something and exchange information. In the future, that will be the normal way of how companies are operated. People needs to have a better life balance and have a healthier community and healthier relationship, not only about work. So you will not be forced to move somewhere because of the work. Things are dramatically changing, which is good for all of us, I would say. Work will become much more asynchronously because plenty of companies are hiring worldwide. So how to overcome primary time zone calendar and do the work? It's asynchronous way of work and it enables much more innovation than it's now. Of course, culture will change to be more outside of the work, and you will choose the community you want to belong, not by your HR department. No offense to HR here, just to say, okay, I want to live here or to travel around the world and do my work. And I'm fine with that. Broadband will be the, let's say, basic stuff. It's really infrastructure. It's literally everywhere. So it's a basic human right, what it will be and be a vital part of our business economic achievements. Not anymore huge venture capital will belongs to one area like Silicon Valley or United States. It will be spread across the world. So there is no silos and borders when it comes to this financial aspect of remote work. And of course, remote first practices will be change industry dramatically, not only tech industry, but something like manufacturing or medicine. It will also be part of this remote work. When we're talking about remote, usually think I'm sitting somewhere at my home or in this co-working space like this, or somewhere on the beach or in dirty room, but actually there are several remote models, how companies can operate it. Let's put some spotlight on that. In first part, I want to say and support, describe from no remote to hybrid remote model. So this is more models on this no remote part. It's very simple. First one is no remote. No, you should go to office and do your work without any exceptions. Then we have remote exceptions like, okay, you can work remotely. Everyone else should go to the office infinitely every day. I was in this situation when I was working in Sweden or in Serbia for Swedish and UK companies. I was the only one in the 100 plus large size companies can work remotely. And it's also, I feel, some drawbacks and some advantages of this model. You can choose remote time or remote days for the company, like say, okay, 3 times per week, which is kind of usual stuff these days, or the entire company will go on holiday on June or work remotely in July, including executives in the company. Of course, the last one is also so popular these days, are coming in various shapes, I would say, but this is something in between, like, okay, someone can work remotely 100%, someone can't work remotely because it's location specific, etc. Second part will describe more remote options or operational models when it comes to how we should drive remote work. Remote first means, okay, we are ready to do everything remotely properly, and we have some from time to time office visit. In this situation, there is office. Remote only means, okay, we have no office, there is no co-located environment, but somehow we are organized around the core team hours. Good example is I'm in Europe, I'm working for a US company, and yeah, they're 6-7 hours behind me, so I need to work kind of second shift to overlap a bit, couple of hours per day with them, or to fully overlap with them, which can be really, really exhausting. So also asynchronous waiver can overcome this problem. Remote allows means, okay, various options like few exceptions. Someone is in office, someone can do it remotely, whatever. Most extreme model on the right side, which actually GitLab supports from early beginnings, all remote. There is no time zones, there is no primary time zone actually, and there is no office. It simply doesn't exist. And of course, this requires a set of actions, skills, and processes established to do it properly in a good way with good results. As I said, there's some drawbacks when you start implementing remote model or models. As I said, my experience is I was working in Serbia for a Swedish company. I feel isolated and I don't have all perks like my co-workers. I wasn't really part of the team. And I feel also like I'm a satellite office, somehow on distant remote place, right? And somehow I feel guilty, like, okay, I'm working remotely, they're working in office. Is this a perk or what is this? This can bring a lot of problems. So also there is super, super important to put a spotlight and attention on this to avoid this kind of pitfalls. Philosophical question, what is remote work? You see in job description when you apply for job, especially these days, okay, they provide this as a perk, like, okay, you can work remotely in any shape, right? But at the end of the day, my thought on here is like, it is a product, it's not a perk. Why? When you want to establish a remote culture and way of working, like operational model, you should find executive sponsorship. You need to have leadership in this area. You should iterate on that and make it better and better and better. You should document the process. You should establish a process and you should train your people. So these all characteristics are related to product, not to perk. Maybe on the first scan in job description, it is a perk, but actually I think, just my opinion, this is a product. Okay, you introduce your remote work, you have now everyone outside of the office, working from home, co-working spaces, beaches, whatever, and honeymoon is over. You see a lot of problems. What is next level? How you should overcome the issues? Probably, in my opinion, or GitLab opinion, we should go even further and do it asynchronously. This is, for me, next level of remote work. Why? Because it put a different context or different point of view on remote work with few more advantages you can overcome. Time zones, you can do it 24/7 in very easy way. But there's some tasks and homework you should do. What is async or asynchronous way of work? This is process-oriented definition. I like it, no problem with that. From remote blog, it's very simple concept. Do what you can now, finish your work, documented everything, and transfer to the next person in a row and start doing something else. Very simple, fairly okay, process-oriented, what to do and how. This is much better for me because it hit the center of the problem in this case. Current corporate world is dictated and created around calendars and schedulers. And you're forced to work synchronously to be on that meeting physically or virtually. And another word for synchronous work is meetings. Opposite of that is async, okay? Why we should start doing asynchronously? It is good. It allows you full focus and deep focus, especially good for tech world. It allows you to hire people around the globe. It allows you to work 24/7 without any on-call duties or additional extra miles and work for any team member. This can make you fast. And of course, you should easily iterate on the process and make it better and better and better. And I would say, yeah, it's biased to action. If you're working asynchronous, it's not for everyone by default, definitely. But you should have bias to action, or it will be ignited by you. For whom is asynchronous way of work? I would say primarily it is for engineering-oriented companies who are required to do some serious, very complex job. You can't do it if you have plenty of meetings in a row for one day without any breaks or without enough time to reconcile your energy and your time and do your best. If time component is critical for your work and requires really immediate action without waiting time, probably asynchronous way of work is not for you in that case. Well, are you ready for it? That's the next question. Is your company organization is ready to embrace and implement asynchronous way of work? I would say there are two critical components. First one is about communication. How you should communicate in this way of work. And second one is to building a proper culture to support and ignite the advantage of asynchronous way of work and leverage your business. How you should shift your mindset. There are several components or process can help you with this, but as I said, two major components, communication and building a culture. Then your mindset should shift to asynchronous way of thinking. Building a culture is the first step. You need to establish a process, train a people, and create a proper working culture and working environment can attract the top talents. Of course, you should break down the silo for the communication in order to make it visible and transparent. And as I said, at the end of the day, train people to know how to do their work and how to communicate. You should enable healthy workspace and promote proper values without supporting the long working hours, burning down or burning out at the work, but also to have a proper work-life balance. It's super, super important. Why? Because in a modern world, you have a lot of duties during the day, family life, business life, some social sports activities. How you should orchestrate it and put everything in proper order. You need to have a healthy workspace without poison burning out. And also it's company duties to enable you healthy workspace in order to do your best and be very, very oriented to results. Of course, everything started with a mission. Each company should create a mission. Why? Because it's a title of their brand. Why we are here? Why we are doing this? In our case, it's fairly simple and it said everyone can contribute. And I just want to add, in addition to that, everyone should contribute. This is the first point to establish a culture, define your mission. Under the mission, what you will have? You'll have values and sub-values for each value. Why? Because that's the way how you should drive your business. You should propagate, promote your values, and actually live your values on a company level. with set of sub-values help you to understand the trajectory of your company and direction where are you going. In case of GitLab, it's fairly simple and easy to remember. On the top of this slide, you will see really graphics to support our values, and you can see definition of our values. It's fairly easy to remember. Acronym is CREDIT, and it stands for collaboration, result, efficiency, diversity, inclusion, and belonging. In addition, iterations, and I would say transparency. In our case, it's total transparency. We already mentioned our handbook and how transparent we are. And in our example, this is the values, and for each value, we have set of sub-values help us to understand each of them. So credit is fairly easy to remember. And of course, each of these values are really what we propagate in our daily work. When it comes to communication process, you need to reconsider how you should communicate among your team and team members on the company and team level, because now you're working asynchronously. Simply said, it's bye-bye to not needed meetings and emails. Literally speaking, I have an email in GitLab, but nothing important is there. I do not look emails for a month. What is the catch here? Nothing which is important for our business is not there. You can imagine if you look some facts and you need documentation for the project, you go to emails, you go to Slack, you go to some knowledge base, wrap up everything in some sheets, and you have the full picture. In our case, we have issue in our tool where we start the discussion. Of course, you have Slack messages, but also after 1 month or 3 months, I'm not sure about exact time frame, everything in Slack is deleted. This approach forces you to put everything in a single source of truth, handbook in our case, and also issues for discussion. And when it comes to the meetings, it's not mandatory in our company because everything can be written down. Probably you think you slower it down because you need to put out everything on the paper or in some sheet, but in the long run, it creates a really super important and interesting and also useful set of documentation. It's probably slow at the first hand. In long run, it's very, very handy. About asynchronous work, when you're talking about documentation, you should document everything. As I said, our handbook, 2,000 pages of text, even more. Each component of our business, except few exceptions because we're a public company, we should hide or do not expose some numbers. But literally everything else, if you go there, you'll discover how we're doing the thing. You name it, especially, let's say, it can be good for startups. I'm a small startup, do my business very well. Now I'm rapidly growing. I need to hire people. I don't have HR department. I don't have money to hire HR. I simply don't want to do that. What should I do? GitLab handbook, how we hire people, what we are looking for. There is a job families, the job description level of junior, medium, senior staff, etc. Okay, I can use some of these components. And yeah, that make you faster and better to make your decisions and do your work normally. About communication, you have formal part with all these documents we already mentioned, but also you have informal communication. You know, it's fairly easy to go to office, grab some coffee, speak with your colleagues, do some chit chats, and fairly quickly and easy make some decisions or improve your knowledge or get the information you need. It's probably a little bit more difficult in asynchronous environment. So for this reason, I would try to expose you several techniques we are using to formalize informal communication and enrich it. We have social calls with no agenda, randomly picked up by any of our 600 plus colleagues. We are using some plugin in Slack called Donut application where you randomly have informal social calls with some team members. No agenda, just private stuff. Second option is a typical coffee chat one-on-one, randomly choose. Most of them are going with your colleagues, but can be also outside of your team, which is cool. That's a great experience for me because I'm aware of or find out some new facts from my colleague from Australia or from Alaska or from Brazil about how they're doing their work, how they're living, what values are they support, which is really cool. We are in the same company, but really come from different roots, which is great, and also support our diversity value. I like this definitely. Co-working calls, probably a bunch of folks from the same team can express some gratitude, celebrate success, maybe discuss about some failures, or simply hang out with pizza party online, of course, and share their experience. Also cool option to be more and more familiar with your colleagues. Ask Me Anything session is handy in case you want to, or you think you have something you want to share with the rest of the company, rest of the team. You just organize an MEA call with topic and agenda and express something like, okay, I have new strategy I want to implement regarding the data platform, or I want to share how we operate in remote work, how we can improve it, anything like that, you name it. Talent shows and tournaments, any kind of quiz, competitions, hackathons, fairly easy to organize, very cheap. There is no needs for some large budget for that. And also everyone can contribute, which stick with our mission in this case. Thanks channel. This is also fine because there is a exclusive channel in Slack called Thanks. You can say, express your gratitude to anyone in the company. Even your colleagues is there and see some no-name, you can be very proud of it. I really like it. If my name is there, or name of my colleague, or I want to express some gratitude, Thank channel is a super way to do that with no cost. If you like flowers, books, travels, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, whatever you want, Lego bricks, you can open an exclusive Slack channel for that discipline or that hobby, and you can put a bunch of people there interested in the same things you like. It's fairly useful also because it's providing new experience from around the globe. People like the same thing you like. Very, very crucial, vital thing I want to highlight a few more times, our handbook as a single source of truth. If you're in doubt what is actually true, something from emails we do not use, from meetings, some agenda, you should refer to handbook. When I started in GitLab, it was fairly annoying for him. Like, okay, I ask someone for something and they send me just a link, don't want to talk with me. And I would say, yeah, it's already written down. We can speed up our process. That people is not lazy, just very, very, very efficient and oriented to results. So for that reason, our handbook is really literally single source of truth for us. Well, in this way of work, you should gain new skills like mastering, autonomy, and purpose. You should master your piece of work and your expertise. You will get a really high level of autonomy and you will discover your purpose, why we are doing this. In our case, it's called manager of one because that manager of one should do all of these things and manage his or her time about make things done and produce some results, which is also cool. On the other side, there are some drawbacks and pitfalls when it comes to asynchronous way of work, what not to do. Please, this is a baby steps. We pass through this path and also want to share my experience, what not to do. Please do not assume that all resources available yet. You need to go in short tours and make, learn, instruct, train your people down the road. Do not try to replicate in office environment one-on-one remotely. It will not work. Simply is not the same thing. You need to adjust and establish culture and improve or reassess communication process. Do not transfer all in-person meetings to virtual one-on-one. There's some difference we already mentioned. Do not assume each team member has everything they need to do the work. It's company duty to provide all equipment for office or for remote work to each team member, so there is no one left behind. Do not assume everything should happen overnight in short term. This requires time, patience, and training. Do not assume as well management as a management is drastically different in asynchronous and remote environment. Why? Processes, tools, or people are here. Execution is a bit different and environment is a bit different. Everything else, I would say, is almost the same, not 100%, but almost, right? And do not assume your values will be static in collocated or office environment against remote and asynchronous environment. It should change and it should evaluate it through time how environment is changing. Usually I would say, what questions do you have for me? But I spoke with Kevin after my talk is done and after we finish the last chapter, you can ask me the questions. But before that, let's wrap up and get some takeaways. Remote work, this is just my opinion. It's not by default for everyone. Everyone can be trained to work remotely. I'm working for more than a decade. I'm super happy about that. And you should wisely choose your workforce in your organization. Remote work is a product. Probably this is just my opinion, but we already explained about executive sponsorship, about documentation, about leadership, about iteration of that process, and make that process better and better and better for time. And also you need a couple of components like time, resources, skill, training, and people to shift from no-remote to any kind of remote mode, operational mode, as we already mentioned down the road, you want to implement. I won't say all remote is the best option or no remote is the worst option. It's up to you, your needs, and your vision on organizational level. Asynchronous way of work is mainly about communication and reassess the way how your organization communicate with the team members and among teams and building the culture. These two components are vital. It requires specific set of skills. As we said, it's not for everyone, and it's a manager of one. When you say manager of one, you think, okay, mastering autonomy, purpose, and many things among that. It requires total or brutal transparency to be open, not only internally, but to outer world. And you should create a single source of truth for your team members in your company. As I said, our handbook is fully transparent to outer world because we are open core and open source by default. It unleashes many potentials like mastering autonomy and purpose under that manager of one term. Personally, I will bet that the asynchronous way of work is future of work, accepted by majority. Most of the companies in the future will strive for this way of working. And for you, probably it's better to be ready and be aware, even on basic level, what it is and why you think or why you should stick and embrace that way of life and living, actually. This is me, and it's fairly easy to find me on LinkedIn or any social network. Please feel free to be very open and very direct if you want to ask me, ping me, organize a coffee chat. I'm always eager to speak about not only about remote work, but also about many tech stuff. So don't hesitate to ping me. Always eager to do something useful for community and see and get the feedback from that. Except that, I can't say anything else than thank you for your time, your attention. I hope you have some inspiration after this talk. Kevin, now microphone is yours, and I think it's the right time to ask some question, right? What do you think about that?
Yes. Thank you very much, Radovan. It's great to learn how GitLab works, and I agree with you. Being the manager of one is so important in working in this kind of setting. In my company, we're working with teammates all over the world, and I understand about how we have to work async. It's everybody has to be responsible for their work and also bias to act. I think that's great.
Yeah, that's one of our sub values. I didn't have enough space and time to define each sub value, but bias to action is something really important. Like self-made and self-driving person is always good for the company, for himself or herself.
Yes, that's great. Okay, so we're gonna start answering some questions. Feel free to write your questions. We still have time to receive your questions. And just to kick us off, I'm very curious, about the release date on every 22nd of the month. Is there like a story behind this, Radovan?
I tried to discover the more details about that, but I think first release somehow by accident was on that day, and we want to keep it as a good tradition. This is related to our core product, like DevOps product core platform core GitLab will be released every 22nd of the March. Because I'm working in data team, we have more frequent, I think, non-stop deployment because it's really DevOps culture and a way of working. But actually there is no details, probably by accident or by somehow it's 22nd of the month for the first release, and they stick with the same tradition. Probably just to avoid some jinx. I don't know. Maybe.
Sure. Yeah, it became a tradition. That's interesting. Yeah. Okay. So how about we look at Ty's question? This is quite interesting. He's asking, can async be implemented in a non-remote work environment?
Yeah. That will be great, but I think first option is to go remotely. Why? Because if you are in office, it's probably fairly difficult to organize the, let's say, facilities, building and everything. Now I'm in co-working space. If I want to go to work in 10 p.m., probably no one will be here and door will be closed. So that's kind of technical issue to implement it. I'm always for that, but I think there are many factors can limit this option. Organically speaking, it's going remote, then async remote, but yeah, on-site asynchronously, why not? I'm always for that. So it's not exclusively, it can be mutual or it can be separated, but yeah, worth to think. But probably when it comes to costs, security guard, physical, technical security can be an issue, can be costly option, right? You need to support free shifts of support for coffee machines, elevators, everything, electricity. Can be challenging, but it's not impossible, definitely. And sounds as a good option, definitely.
Yeah, you have a good point there in terms of the support needed, the back office needed for an office for that. Okay, Miles here has a question. How do remote software developers ensure that they are staying on track and meeting project deadlines? And what strategies can they use to stay motivated and productive?
Yeah, definitely. I would say, and always will refer to our handbook. If you type GitLab handbook data team, I belong to that team. My contributions are mainly there. You can see how we are working, and it's applicable for the entire company. We have OKRs on quarter level, and I commit, okay, I will finish this, and this OKR. Under that, I have milestone, and under that, I have iteration, and I have an issue for each OKR. And also, I have checkups, daily meetings, which is okay. It's async, like we type it as a plugin in Slack, which is cool. If you're in US, you can type it your morning, I can type it my evening or my morning, doesn't matter. And we have a track of each daily activity during the day for last 2 months, or 3 months, everything is deleted after that, which is fairly enough for us. Also, that's the way how we operate and drill down. I have checkups. Once per week, we have team meeting. If you have any concerns, you should speak with your manager. Actually, we have a very flat hierarchy with manager, which is more person taking care about any impediments, any problems, any problems on the road. And that manager should have a first priority to get rid of all obstacles on our daily work. So actually, that's the way how you should execute your work. Second part of the question was about motivation. You should choose your workforce very carefully. That is what I said as a takeaway. And I would say you need specific mindset and that bias to action to keep you motivated. So it's not for everyone, definitely. If your person doesn't like your work very much and someone needs to push you and have lashes to hit you all the time to work something, probably you're not in the right place, which is also okay. We are all different. But if you have that bias to action, can help you a lot to be motivated. You should be humble and hungry for your work. In that case, I would say there is no problem to stay motivated. But when it comes to organizational part, check our handbook for details. Actually, there is everything how we operate. Maybe it can be also inspiration for you. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you, Radovan. I think Benjamin has a slightly similar question to track, how GitLab ensures that peers and team members are working at a decent quality. I think he's asking like producing up to par of the expectations, I think. Yeah.
There are several answers on that, several aspects. One aspect is technical aspect. We are doing something like we are using our product on daily basis. We have many things automated. If you type GitLab handbook data pipelines, you will see 1,000 pipelines we are using to ensure the quality of our product. When it comes to code base, compliance, security, monitoring, actually we are using our product to create our data platform. That's technical aspect. Human aspect is based on sync and checkups and outcome, what you produce. You have 3 months to finish your OKR, you have checkups daily, weekly, whatever. You have any problems, just raise your hand, type a message, sync with whom is needed. And in that case, you ensure the quality. It's the same as collocated environment. I mean, if you're working in Facebook in US, that office is so large. You're in the same building, but actually you will never see your colleagues. So there is no difference. And it's very obvious in tech world to see the quality or lack of quality in your product. So trust me, it can't be missed. So actually you can consider this problem as a couple of aspects: technical aspect, human aspect, also compliant aspect. Everything should be in sync. So there are a couple of dimensions you should consider, but yeah, if you automated your things, you can easily and quickly see the quality of your product. You can see our pipeline for, let's say, Python code. It's run automatically on each commit, and you see the quality of our code. Is it 8 from 10, 10 from 10, 5 from 10? Are you satisfied with linters and everything there? Also, I write one article about how we drive or create Python code, what is good, what is not, what is recommended. It's also a good knowledge base, and most of these things are automated. So yeah, please take a look and see it in details. But generally speaking, technical and human aspect.
Okay, great. And the next question from Rohan: any tips on how we can document everything in a startup culture where we are setting up everything from scratch? So I think he's asking if you're starting from scratch, you have no documents. Any tips that we should pay attention to when starting to document it? Yeah.
There are two things I can suggest here, as we mentioned Handbook together with startups. First thing is we have something called a round book for remote work, and you recognize most of the things from this presentation. I was free to steal the good ideas from them and good sentences. So study that remote playbook. It's really like infographic from 5-10 pages. You can done it in 10 minutes. And after that, you can go to our handbook. You can see the source code. You can fork it, host it on your resources. You can start from the scratch, or you can use what you need for your purposes. Maybe you don't have a data science team, discard that part. You want to hire engineer or you want to hire HR, use it from us. So feel free to steal it, feel free to use it. So that's my question. Why to start from scratch where there is high level of reusability of actually what you need? You can use our experience, you can create your own, but skeleton is here. And as I said, it's fairly easy to do it. You can do it the same for remote.com company. Actually, they're fully remote as us. So I don't see the problem to fork something which is really, really good.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. I'm really grateful, that the GitLab, that there's this transparency, and you're helping other companies, to learn how to work
100%.
remotely. Yeah, that's
100%.
awesome. Yeah. Thank you very much, Radovan. I want to thank also everybody who's joined the session today. I see some people have questions regarding finding remote work. I'm going to share some links. I'm going to share a link here so you can find also resources.
You're the guy, Kevin, here for helping them to find the right job, right?
Yes.
If I understand you properly.
Yes,
so yeah, I will refer them to you definitely.
Yes, and I think Tom also asked about remote work for employees and freelancers. There's both. You can find both through Arc too, so that is great. And yeah, any final thoughts? Anything you want to close off with, Radovan?
I just want to say a huge thank to the audience around the world, which is really great supporter of remote and async work. And one more way to watch this async is maybe later on. You will share probably this link on YouTube with us. And except that, Thanks a lot. Try to learn more every day about remote and async, probably, or for sure it will be future of the work. Just my opinion. For any questions, you know how to find me. Have a great day. Enjoy.
Yes, thank you very much. See you next time.
See you, folks. Have a great day.
Bye.